Hello Gemini, welcome to my channel. Thank you so very much for joining me for your October 2023 Tarotscope. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you and such a blessing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In the description box below, you will find links to all sorts of goodies, including my social media, personal readings or information on personal readings, and donations as well if you would like to explore those. There's also a timestamp in the description box should you like to jump to the start of your reading. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. October happens to be a universal 8-month, and this brings with it the energy of renewal, a reminder that all things in life are connected to the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. We're being encouraged to focus on universal connectedness and collective humanity. There also comes with this 8 energy self-empowerment that pulls us towards expansion, growth, and divine compassion. So for this month's Tarotscope, we are going to be looking at the overall energy, what is coming to an end, what is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning, and getting for you some wisdom that will best support your healing, growth, and evolution. So Gemini, let's jump in and see what's coming through for you this month. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what is the overall energy for Gemini in October 2023, please? Overall energy, thank you. What is coming to an end for Gemini this month, please? Thank you. What is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning? Thank you. What wisdom will best support Gemini in their healing, growth, and evolution, please? Okay. Tell us more about the overall energy of October 2023 for Gemini. Tell us more, please, about the overall energy of October 2023 for Gemini. Okay. Tell us more, please. What is coming to an end for Gemini this month? Thank you. Tell us more, please. What is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning for Gemini this October? What? Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please. What wisdom will best support Gemini in their healing, growth, and evolution? And how? Yes. What else do we need to know about the overall energy? Okay, thank you. What else? Okay, thank you. What else do we need to know, please, about what is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning? Okay. And what else do we need to know about the wisdom that will best support Gemini's healing, growth, and evolution? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Gemini, we are using a lot of cards this month. Tell us anything else we need to know or may have missed about the overall energy of October 2023 for Gemini, please. Okay. Anything we need to know or may have missed about what is coming to an end for Gemini this month? Thank you. Anything we need to know or may have missed about what is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning? Thank you. And anything we need to know or may have missed in regards to the wisdom that will best support Gemini in their healing, growth, and evolution? Thank you. All right, let's dive in. The overall energy for you this month, Gemini, you do have here first, align your life, what is not aligned or needs to change. For some reason, Gemini, I feel as though part of this message or this overall energy for you this month is really examining or analyzing that which is not serving you, that which is not working for you. And for some of you, I feel like this is certainly about the relationships that you have. Now, whether this be romantic relationships, business relationships, friendships, or otherwise, I feel that there could be energies which you are connected with or exchanging with that simply aren't serving you. For some of you, I feel as though this has been lingering in your mind. You may have been, how would you say, considering certain people. Again, there's a feeling of like analysis. I feel like you either prior to or during this month may be thinking about some of these relationships and really considering what value they bring to your experience. And for some, it may not be much of anything at all. And what I mean by that is what they may be bringing could potentially be things like drama or negativity or, things like this. So I do feel like for some of you, it does have something to do with relationships. And there are, I feel for some of you, relationships that are, how would I say this, influencing how you see yourself. Okay. And some of those things may not be in very good ways. It may be having you criticize yourself, or maybe you're feeling guilty about certain decisions or boundaries or things like this that you've been trying to implement into your experience, choices that you've made to better yourself or to better your life overall. Whatever it is, I feel like there could be some for you where they are causing you to, again, criticize yourself or to feel guilty or feel shame or something along those lines. Okay, so I definitely feel like this is coming to the forefront this month and is asking you to examine it more deeply. Oh, yes. Yes. You also have the crumbling. What are you clinging to? So again, for whatever reason, I feel like I keep being drawn back to relationships. Again, they can be many different kinds of relationships. Or for some of you, maybe you are already like, oh, I already know what this is about. But there's certainly things that you may have been just kind of holding on to where you kind of know better. Or your intuition has already been speaking to you about certain relationships, certain situations, because there are things that I feel like you've been, what we might say, attached to and have been struggling to let go of, though you, like I said, may know better. Okay. And this doesn't necessarily have to be relationships, although for some of you, I feel like you will likely resonate with that quite heavily. However, it doesn't have to be that. This could be patterns, behaviors, thought processes, certain paradigms, right? You'll know what it is for you, but it's just this energy of really kind of, I don't want to let this go. Or maybe you have, in regards to relationships, maybe you have, this is something that you've developed over a long period of time, right? Maybe it's someone you've been friends with since childhood, or like a family member, or maybe you spent a lot of time or energy into something, putting that into something. And so there's been this really big fear and confusion, if you will, about letting go of that. But here's the thing, this is very much like the Tower for me. As you can see here, there's this lightning coming down over the card, and it is certainly like a tower. And I feel as though, this is happening, or this energy is coming up for this month because you're meant to be looking at these things, right? It's meant to be restructuring your experience overall. It is showing to you where there needs to be drastic changes made. Okay. We do have the Two of Wands. Yeah, this is that fear showing up. This is that fear. There are decisions, twos being choices, that need to be made. And again, I feel as though you know this. For some of you, the decision has been difficult because you've found yourself comfortable. Even if it is not a good experience for you, it's not a good relationship for you or situation for you, or a good pattern or behavior, it's comfortable. You've learned how to, let's say, survive in that space, whatever it is, or with whoever it is. You know how to move there, and moving away from that is likely to feel very uncomfortable. And so there's this energy of like playing it safe. I don't want to move away from this because I know what I'm doing here. Once I step outside of this circle, if you will, or this box, this relationship, this habit, whatever it is, there's that level of discomfort because it is the unknown. But the Two of Wands in the upright is this kind of like leaving home, leaving your comfort zone, 11:11 on the clock, leaving your comfort zone type of energy, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I feel like the energy this month is positioning you to recognize where you may have gotten too comfortable and where you are playing it safe, and how leaving that would be beneficial for you, would be helpful for you, would be better for you. Okay. You also have here Holy Grail, inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. Now with this energy, I feel as though, okay, so how do I translate this? The overall energy being that there's this energy of comfort. And for some of you, these may be through, let's say, attachments to certain people and things, because there's almost this codependent type of energy. For some of you, you find validation in some of these relationships, but there's, with this Holy Grail, this is a time I feel that essentially what's happening is God is making arrangements. The universe, whatever you want to call it, is making arrangements and positioning certain people in certain places. And I feel for you, there is this kind of moving you away, right? Like in order for you to be your most favorite, most true, most authentic, most or highest or best version of yourself, there's a need to separate you from certain energies. Okay. And I feel as though if you resonate with this feeling of seeking validation or finding validation in certain people, even if they may not be good for you, the what's coming through here is, I feel like you're being shown that you are what you seek. The only way to truly remedy that is by finding it within yourself. Right? So I do feel that this month for you is positioning you for this, let's say, inner discovery, so that you can find these things within yourself, to find that you will be okay moving away from certain things, certain people, right? Because again, you are what you seek. I also like, I'm going to put this in the best way possible. It may sound kind of harsh, but there is an energy here of, I'm just going to say this, but essentially like you have risen above certain energies, certain people, certain situations. And how do I say this? There are things or people, more likely people, or situations that do not see the value that you hold. Okay, so we have this finding sacredness energy here, and I feel as though it's speaking to how you are of far more value than perhaps some of the situations that you're currently in are recognizing. And, ooh, okay, I say this with so much love, and I'm not saying this to bring forth any kind of, I don't know, egotism, but I heard like it's beneath you. It's beneath you. And for some of you, I feel like this is because you've been growing, you've been doing this work, you've been exploring your truth and trying to align with that, trying to connect with that, trying to integrate it, embody it. For some of you, you've been going through this process and you've learned so much, and it's like better now. It's beneath you to engage in certain things or engage with certain people. Okay, so take that as it resonates. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. We have here as well, I am presence, light body activation, accessing the divine within. So this is what's incredibly fascinating, because you have the Holy Grail with finding sacredness, and you have here the I am presence, accessing the divine within. Again, it is this energy of discovering the truth of who you are, discovering your value, discovering your power, discovering truly, for some of you, the divinity that you hold. And there, I can't say this enough, but there are some that it's beneath you to engage with certain energies, certain situations, because you know better. I don't know how else to say that. I'm going to read this, the message from the guidebook for this card for you. But again, it feels like you're on this precipice where it's like this month may be giving you the opportunity to truly leap into, let's say, your greater self or the next stage, to position yourself in a way where you are continuing to rise. However, it feels that there is this hesitancy to take that leap because there's a comfort with where you are currently or where you have been, right? You may have found yourself taking steps forward and working and making changes, but it's like you've now reached a point where the things that you are facing, the leap that you are facing, as it were, is the leaving behind the things that you most cling to. And so let's read here the message. Okay. Again, this is the overall energy for you this month. You are experiencing a great shift, which is helping you to understand yourself in ways that were previously impossible. This is an exciting time. You are connecting with the highest forms of intelligence within you. The body of light within you is growing brighter, and you're becoming aware of how your actions and choices affect the unfolding of your future. The bright light you are is expressing itself unapologetically. Okay, so again, I feel as though there is that energy for some of you of being around certain energies, certain people, which are trying to keep you, let's say, lower, in a lower frequency. And they may, I'm not saying they're doing this consciously, like they understand that that's what's happening, but oftentimes as we raise our frequency, as we heal, as we move forward, the energy of those that have gotten comfortable with who we are, what we can give to them, energetically speaking, emotionally speaking, whatever it is, once we start to, let's say, loosen from that, sometimes those energies can like retaliate. Okay, because they too have gotten comfortable. And you breaking free from that or loosening that disrupts that comfort for them. And you may be ready to do so. You may be feeling like this is the next thing that I need to be doing, and perhaps are doing so unapologetically. However, for them, they may not be ready for that shift. They may be clinging themselves. And so that, again, that can create this kind of tension or conflict. Ooh, you got some big decisions to make, Gemini. You have here creativity. You love to devise new ideas, innovations, and forms of illumination. Yeah, so, here's the thing. I do feel that as you are gaining access to new levels of awareness, new levels of consciousness, as you are being exposed to new levels of yourself, or let's say forms of illumination, you, I feel, are viewing the world differently. And I feel as though that is intriguing. It is enticing. It is it's magnetic, right? So I feel as though it's getting more and more difficult to ignore, right? It's how would I say? So it's interesting how I'm seeing this card, because I'm being very reminded, pardon me, of like the archetype of like the inner child, or maybe even what we might call the sun, like SUN, right? Because it is that energy of creativity, and that inner child just gets real giddy and real excited, and is eager to explore what's calling to them. That curiosity just calls. And I feel like this is potentially where you are. It feels as though you're in this space of feeling very drawn, very intrigued, very curious, and again, it's getting more and more difficult to fight that, but there's kind of this pull. It's like that illumination, that curiosity, those sorts of things are calling you one way, and the old ways of being are kind of trying to put the brakes on, trying to put the weight down, trying to anchor, right? So I feel like you may be experiencing this energy through this month, where you're being very drawn to certain things, and perhaps this does have something to do with levels of creativity. It could potentially be just viewing the world from a different perspective and feeling drawn to that, it inspiring you in ways that you have not yet experienced before. Okay. So what is coming to an end for you, Gemini? Yeah, you have protection, call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval, as I was saying. Okay. Um, this feels very much like what is coming to an end for you is literally that. I mean, how do I say this? It feels like what's coming to an end is you just giving away your power. Okay. Of you having these attachments, these cords, these threads with things that simply are not serving you, that are draining you, that are, detrimental, let's say, to your evolution and your growth. I'm getting I'm getting fear coming up with this, and I know I'm going to sound very repetitive, but I do feel like that fear is because you know where you are, right? You know how to navigate where you have been, and it is simply the fear of the unknown, of navigating something different, of navigating a new experience. So there's part of you that desperately wants to move forward, but another part of you that knows that if you want to move forward, if you want to experience something different, you must release that which you have been, or that which you have been exposing yourself to, what you've been enmeshed in, right? So again, I feel like what's coming to an end here is you just giving away your power. I feel like you are now in a position where you have the opportunity, should you choose, to cut these cords, to no longer be the puppet on the string, as it were. Right? I feel as though the days of you just giving and exposing yourself to various energies, all kind of willy-nilly, are done. It's quite fascinating. I do want to share that this very much appears to be an eclipse to me, and I do feel like as we move closer to that eclipse season, you may find this growing, or perhaps it ends around that time, or the eclipse energy is influencing this within you. Yeah, look at this. You have the Eight of Swords. What is coming to an end? I mean, based on the picture itself, you can certainly see what I've been speaking on, because the Eight of Swords is this energy of imprisonment, of self-victimization, entrapment. And I feel as though, again, what's coming to an end is all of these threads that you have had, or these cords, these attachments to, again, maybe people, maybe stories, maybe patterns, habits, situations where it's limited you. And you may have perceived or believed that you could not break free from that. But again, I feel this is coming to an end. That restriction, that confusion, that powerlessness, I feel is coming to an end, because I feel like you are starting to recognize who you truly are beyond that, beyond all of these people, places, things that you've dumped your energy into that are not, let's say, equal exchanges, that are not perpetuating your growth, that are not supporting your growth, but rather are keeping you, let's say, trapped in the old stories. Okay, so this is certainly, I feel, about, freeing yourself from that. And I feel like this is what's coming to an end. You have here as well, so light codes, a light initiation, great teacher awakening, and divine magic. And the phrase here, or the words that are pulling me most, is divine magic, because I do feel we have this finding sacredness, you are what you seek, and accessing the divine within. I feel as though, again, the days of seeing yourself as less than, as inferior, as maybe unworthy, undeserving, those days are coming to an end. Because again, I feel like you are beginning to recognize and remember who you truly are at a soul level. And at a soul level, you are a physical embodiment of God. You hold within you Christ, you hold within you God, you hold within you the angels. You are far more, let's say, magical, valuable, powerful, strong than you have been led to believe. And the more you uncover this within yourself, I feel the more you are going to separate yourself and back away from that limitation that tells you you are not. Right? So I feel that this is coming to an end. Your days of seeing yourself as less than great, less than divine, less than magical are coming to an end. Yes, you have your elevation. You are making the conscious decision to raise your vibration of love. This is an energy. What is coming to an end? The days of you limiting yourself. The days of you preventing yourself from moving forward. So I feel as though here, Gemini, again, like the days of you stalling your own growth, the days of you limiting yourself, the days of you, what do we say? Again, it just feels like putting yourself lower than, or seeing yourself as a less than, or smaller in some kind of way, are coming to an end. Because I feel like you are now in a position where you are beginning to, or do, recognize the value that you hold. Right? The truth of who you are. So what is then being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning? Mirror who or what is triggering you. Yes, you are seeing very clearly, right? What is not aligned, what you're clinging to, the things that are holding you back. And I feel like your fear of these things, of seeing these things for what they truly are, gaining that clarity, are dwindling. Right? It feels as though you are less intimidated by, if you will, or less fearful of what it is, or let me rephrase, less fearful of the calls that need to be made in order for you to rise, in order for you to evolve, in order for you to be fulfilled and happy and feel complete within. Yeah, I really feel like the days of confusion about what it is that's holding you back, it's beginning where you now have this clarity, where you can again see very clearly who or what is holding you back, what is preventing you from growing, rising ever higher. We have here the Page of Cups in the reverse, right? So here's the thing. This is very, very interesting to me because again, we're looking at what is being rebirthed, renewed, or is beginning. And it's interesting that you would have this, you are being clearly shown, or what is beginning is that you are seeing very clearly, or are no longer confused by what is triggering you, what is holding you back. I feel with the Page of Cups here in the reverse, this can be an energy of, insecurity, let's say, and or like emotional immaturity. Now, I don't say that to judge or anything of that nature, but there is this energy here of, yes, thank you. I feel what's beginning here is, first of all, that insecurity is coming. It feels like you are moving beyond this, and it feels as though there's this intuitive spark. Okay, if you can see here, that's what this is reminding me of here, coming out of the chest of the Page of Cups. There's this intuitive spark where it's like, what is beginning is you cannot deny that any further, any longer, because I feel like it's becoming crystal clear. You have water here in the Mirror card, water of course with the Page of Cups, and there is this energy of your intuition is speaking very clearly to you, and I feel like this is what is beginning or being renewed or rebirthed even within you, because again, now that this is coming forward, now that this is the page is turning, as it were, your intuition is harder and harder to ignore, to deny. And so I feel like what once may have felt or caused you to feel very insecure, like seeing these things, is no more. It's interesting AF because I normally wouldn't necessarily pick up the Page of Cups in that way, but I feel as though this is speaking very heavily to the fact that there is, let's say, this growing confidence in addressing that which once made you or maybe caused you to feel insecure. I hope that makes sense. What we have here, Emerald Tablet Activation, Cosmic Ordering, Divine Alchemy, Conscious Manifesting. So what is being rebirthed, renewed, or beginning? Well, again, like I was saying, we have Cosmic Ordering here, and I told you at the beginning that I feel as though God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, is shifting or ordering things around, because it's like, in order for you to evolve, grow, move into the highest versions of yourself, your most favorite versions or fulfilled versions of yourself, you have to separate yourself from certain things. You have to pull away from certain energies that are influencing you, that may be, let's say, detrimental to your growth and evolution. So I feel as though, this is what's being either renewed or is beginning within you. I feel like there's this recognition, that's what it feels like, of, these things are mirroring or triggering me, pardon me. These things are causing, or maybe once triggered me, or once caused insecurity, or are triggering me and are causing insecurity, and intuitively I know better. It feels as like there's this acknowledgement, or there's this knowingness that things are being organized or ordered in a way that is best for you, and I feel like your intuition is speaking to that. With Divine Alchemy, it feels like some of these things are coming up for you, certainly to be healed or to be alchemized, transformed for you, again, to move ever forward on your journey. And with Conscious Manifesting, I do feel like this is something you have called to you, even if you didn't necessarily believe or expect for it to show up in the way it has. I feel as though it's like you called this to be, to start, to begin. You called this to be renewed within you, to have, how would I say, it's like manifesting to you And maybe you said it something as simply as, you know, setting the, or you set the intention of, I want to be my highest version, my best self. What can I do? Maybe you've prayed about this or meditated on it or something, but at some point it feels as though for some of you, you have called this to you in some way, shape, or form, where you wanted to rise, raise your vibration, ascend, evolve, grow, be better, however you want to word it. And I feel as though that it's all been orchestrated in a way to help you do that. Though it may not, or rather you may not have expected it to show up in the form of cutting yourself free, or changing, or releasing certain people and situations. Right? Oftentimes we like to think that we can just, oh, let's do it this one and this one and this one. Let's cut this free and this free and this free. And oftentimes, God's like, oh, wait a minute, but we got to do all this too. Okay? So I do feel like this is beginning for you in that way. It feels as though it's, what do we say, like started the wheel turning, if you will, or the ball has started rolling. And it started with this manifestation that you brought in. I'm getting fear again. Like I said, I feel like this is showing up in ways that you did not expect. We have inner earth-based chakra strength and security, laying foundations. Yeah, like I said before, with the crumbling here, it's very much like the tower where things are being restructured. This is happening. These things are coming into play because there's this restructuring that's taking place. And I do feel like this is what is beginning for you or being renewed for you, right? If, let's say, a home or a building, if if we are wanting to make it better, let's say, you break it down, many times, if we're looking at this from like maybe home renovation perspective, right, you get this thing and it's been built up over time and it's simply not working, it's not functioning the way that it's supposed to or could, or to the best, or in its best way, let's say. And so what do? Well, you tear down everything that's not working, right? Maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's the walls, whatever, the windows don't work very well, whatever it is, and you take that apart and you start again. You break it down to the foundation and build it back up. And that's what this feels like. I do feel with the base chakra here and strength and security, I do feel very, very called to what I was speaking on before about how you may have some, or may be in some situations or some relationships where there are those who are, just breaking you down, or trying to create guilt or shame or whatever it is within you about your choices, your actions, what you want for yourself. And I feel as though this is all breaking you down to bring you back to the truth of who you are, to bring you back to the power that you hold, the sacredness within you, the divinity within you, right? Remembering who you are and the value that you hold. And I feel like it's trying to build upon that strength and security in yourself, in who you are, okay? Because that root chakra, when in balance, it's that very safe, grounded, secure kind of energy in, really like what we build our life upon, who we feel we are. And when that's out of balance, certainly there's this very fearful, ungrounded, untrusting kind of energy, not just in other people, but in ourselves. So I feel as though, right, what is transpiring here for you is a breaking down of all of these things that are not working, that are going against that are preventing you from moving into a space where there is this incredible strength, incredible security, where you feel safe in who you are at your core, right? And I feel like the whole point is to get you down to these foundations, to make those incredibly strong, and to then, as you move forward, build upon those, right? So that you have this incredibly strong foundation to carry everything else that's to come. Have here as well, beautiful, I love this energy for you, Gemini. You have crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, and miraculous energy. That, like, rebirth is screaming at me right now. Okay. I mean, you have a lot of this kind of divine connectedness coming through, sacredness with the Holy Grail, accessing the divine within with the I am presence. And now you have here, well, you have divine alchemy here, divine magic, and you have divine connection, right? So I do feel that God, source, universe, whatever you want to refer to it, is trying to do its work within you. It's really trying to create this, how do I say, it's almost like this almost like a blank canvas to work from as you move forward, but one where you are not questioning your value, you're not questioning your sacredness, your divinity, your truth, but rather one where that connection is deep, one where that connection is strong, where you recognize the truth of who you are and are moving forward in that, like with that as your root, with that as your base, as your foundation, as your anchor, which is powerful. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. So yeah, it does. And here's the thing. I feel as though, should you allow this energy, now I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight, over the course of the month, right? This is going to unfold as it does per your choices, right? Per what is best for you. But, I feel as though if you allowed this energy to move through you and surrendered to what is trying to be, let's say, ordered around, orchestrated for you, I feel as though it may feel almost like a miracle how you have changed. And I mean that from a sense of not necessarily like how you appear on the outside or how people view you, though that may also apply. I feel like it will feel miraculous to you from within, because I feel like it could be for you such a drastic shift that it really takes how you view life, how the appreciation that you have for life to an entirely new level. And I'm not saying that you don't already have a beautiful view of life or that you don't already appreciate life, but I feel like it could potentially take what it is and tenfold, right? Just really just take it to the next level. You may even, through acknowledging your own divinity, through acknowledging your own sacredness, through embodying that, embracing that, you may find that you have what some would refer to as holy experiences. In my own unfolding, I've had experiences where I would say that the only way that I could explain it is connecting with God or connecting with Christ. And it is something that is very difficult to explain because it's unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. I would call it holy. Beautiful does not describe it. Okay? It doesn't. Extraordinary, magnificent. The words just aren't enough. There's no word that's enough. Okay? And I feel like this could potentially be something that you experience. But again, it depends on you. It depends on your choices. It depends on how you choose to embrace or if you choose to reject this energy, right? It is truly your decision. I am going to read the message for you from this card as well. I just feel like it could give a little extra something. But it certainly feels as though a big part of what's taking place for you this month, Gemini, is God calling you home. And, I'm not talking about a dogmatic religion God here. I just want to make that very clear. I'm talking about this from a much deeper, a much more esoteric level. All right, so it says here, your crown chakra has been upgraded. The spiritual connections you have always had are now being acknowledged. The parts of yourself that you have run from or ignored are being reclaimed. This is an important time, for you are uncovering gifts and wisdom and moving through healing. You may have experienced moments that have tested your faith and your belief in the divine. Know that it's okay and no grievances are being held against you. The Holy Spirit is with you and within you. This is a coming home to your truest self. You are also being encouraged to prepare for yourself for miracles. Expect to experience wonder and blessings, for you are being surrounded by healing light. Divine encounters and holy experiences are happening around you. If you have had a challenging relationship with spirituality or religion in the past, this has now been healed, and you can move forward in an authentic way, experiencing the divine on a personal level and beyond the limitations of unnecessary dogma. You are now connected. So this is what is beginning for you. This is what is trying to be, how would I say, ignited, thank you, within, for you. Yeah, like I said, you have willingness. You are able to compromise if the end result is love. And like I was saying, there's potential here, right? So what is being renewed or is beginning for you, as we've discussed at length here, is a choice. The opportunity is there for you if you're resonating with this, but it does depend on your willingness to be devoted to that, to allow it, to surrender to it, to move with it. Okay? Because otherwise nothing happens, right? Otherwise you have the same experiences. Otherwise things stay the same. But again, it's your choice. So the real question is, are you willing to allow what is showing up for you to be rebirthed, renewed, or to begin? Are you willing to let go of whatever it is you're clinging to, what is not aligned, what is draining on your power, what is limiting you, what is holding you back? Are you willing to make that choice? That's the real question. All right, so let's take a look at the wisdom that will best support your healing growth and evolution. Gemini, you do have Mintaken, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. So here's the thing. As I was speaking on earlier, there was this energy of, having maybe some relationships that are what we might call codependent, or, where you feel validated in some way, shape, or form. And this may be part of what we might call part of the challenges or the fears that you're facing in order to perpetuate this growth. Because it does feel as though the wisdom here is to show you that longing that you may be feeling, or that need for belonging that you may be feeling, that may be holding you back from, let's say, releasing certain things, maybe creating boundaries or stepping away from, or detaching from certain people, places, situations, habits, behaviors, patterns, whatever it may be. It's like, this is the test for you, right? Because that feeling of, let's say, separation, or that need for belonging, comes from seeking that outside of yourself, from that the illusion of separateness from the divine, right? And so I feel as though the wisdom here is like, acknowledge that and understand it, because once you move past that and you recognize that the separation is an illusion, and you find that within you by connecting to God, Christ, the angels within you, that's where the healing, the growth, the evolution takes place. Fascinating. I don't know that I've ever actually got that message with this card before. So it's really interesting, because this is one of the first decks I've ever had, and it's been quite a long time. So very interesting. Whew, another 2 for you. You may be seeing repeating 2s this month, Gemini. You do have the 2 of Pentacles here, and it is also in the reverse. So I feel as though with this card, I mean, I feel like there's this energy of like how do I say? It's acknowledging or addressing the imbalance. Okay. Again, I feel like whatever this is, it has not been an equal exchange, especially in regards to certain relationships or situations. And certainly if you resonate with this, you'll probably know exactly who or what I'm talking about already. Okay. Because it feels like putting all of these other things ahead of yourself. It feels like putting all of these other things ahead of your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own wants, your own desires, right? Yeah, it feels like this big feeling of overwhelm. And I feel like for some of you, maybe this stems from some traumas or woundings or things that may be deeply seated around things like rejection and abandonment. Because there is a fear here of, how do I say this? If I'm not doing XYZ, or if I'm not saying XYZ, if I'm not appeasing this situation, this person, in the way that I always have, or if I choose to do something that they might see as abnormal, then I may lose them. It's that feeling of like being overly burdened or overwhelmed by what it is you want for yourself and what others may expect from you or what others may demand from you. So again, I feel like the wisdom here to best support you is to, work on healing that illusion of separation, or perhaps those wounds or that trauma around separation or rejection or abandonment, and to focus on bringing that into balance, focus on healing that within yourself, so then you can start to prioritize yourself, your desires, your wants, your well-being. Certainly decisions to be made here for you. I mean, a big part of the energy that I'm feeling for you, Gemini, for this month is you have choices to make, and they're choices that only you can make. No one can force you. No one can save you. No one can do it for you. You have to choose. You have here third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. And this is speaking very much to the fact, like I was saying over here with who or what is triggering you. I feel as though you're getting very clear on these things. And your intuition, based on what I'm feeling, has certainly brought, at the very, very least, brought up this question to your mind. It has brought these things to the forefront at least once for analyzation. Like, hey, is this person actually really good? Is this situation actually really good for me? Is this really what I want? Okay. I don't feel like this is just springing on you out of the blue. It really does feel like, for some of you, this is something you've been analyzing. Like, you've been up at night about it, prayed about it, meditated on it, whatever it is. You've thought about it. It's popped in your mind even when you weren't trying to think about it. For some of you, it has been there and has been, at least once brought questions to your mind about these situations or people, because your intuition knows, right? So again, like, I don't feel like this is like brand new, but I feel that, part of the wisdom here for you is to pay attention to that inner vision, pay attention to what that's been speaking to you, because it hasn't been, let's say, I feel like there's a good chunk that might say it hasn't been subtle. Okay. You have here as well Lemurian seed codes, embracing sensitivity, uniqueness, and living with grace. So here's the thing, Gemini, I feel like part of the wisdom here that will best support you is for you to embrace the fact that, and I'm not saying that this is in regards to, let's say, everyone that you have a connection with or some kind of relationship with, but the fact of the matter is is that I feel that there is a need for you to embrace how unique you are in comparison to those around you, and that there are likely many who will not understand this about you. Um, it's very interesting because it feels like for some of you, you may have been working on developing this more spiritual aspect of yourself, maybe taking it more deeply, learning, becoming more aware of, embodying, integrating these sorts of things. But it feels like there are those around you who have no freaking clue. Some of them, maybe they like meditate every once in a while. Maybe they get a tarot reading or something, right? But it feels very, for some of you, very surface level. So it may feel like those around you may not understand you. And there's this almost this fear of isolation. And I feel like the wisdom that's going to best support you is to embrace your uniqueness, embrace your sensitivity to these more esoteric practices, esoteric understandings, esoteric knowledge. And I just feel as though it's like you are uniquely you for a reason. And if you resonate with this, if you felt like you're the black sheep, if you felt like if I get any more outside of pocket, if you will, I'm probably going to be all by myself. Well, I want to say to you that that is not something that is rare. Certainly you would not be alone. Many who have embarked on this journey for truth and for remembering who they are and reconnecting or remembering their soul's true essence have found themselves in a state of isolation at one period or another, if not many. Okay? Because it's almost as if like God's like, hey, in order for you to remember exactly who you are, I've got to remove you from everyone else. Because all of these other energies influence you. They influence your beliefs. They influence your thought processes, your values, your literal energy. It influences you and can affect you. And so there are a lot of cases where spirit is like, hey, I need you by yourself. I need everyone else to just back off, because you've got to get connected with you at your core, at your center. And sometimes the only way to do that, because you may be sensitive and may be very heavily influenced by external energies, a lot of times the only way to do that is to get you isolated, to get you by yourself, and to get you deeply connected with God within, with Christ within, with your intuition, with your higher self, or your soul's true essence within you. I feel like also, doing so gives you the opportunity to learn how to trust that within you. To, again, you have inner discovery here, to really embrace the sacredness within, that you are what you seek. Okay. You have, this is funny. You have your cooperation, and I kind of see this as like it certainly it is wisdom, 100%, but it's almost like kind of like funny at the same time, or like almost like a joke at the same time, because it's like, again, you have willingness here, and now you have cooperation, and there is this energy of spirit trying to work with you, spirit trying to help you and speaking to you, via your intuition, via your dreams, perhaps during meditation, or maybe just when you're minding your business and having things drop into your field. Things are spirit is trying to be your partner in this development, in this elevation or evolution of yourself, in this growth for you, to reestablish that connection. And there's this energy of like, okay, but we require your cooperation. Like, this can't happen without your permission. It cannot happen without you allowing it to be so. Right? But it says here, in your quest to manifest the energy of love, you realize that every person has let me read that again. In your quest to manifest the energy of love, you realize that every person and experience has value, right? So certainly that does apply, and certainly that is very wise to share with you, right? I feel like this is fantastic wisdom for you, because truly every experience and person does have value, okay? Even if it's been painful or traumatic, or you may have suffered or been heartbroken, all of it has value, because pretty much it's a catalyst for your growth, right? There's potential in pain. And even through, experiences that we find incredibly joyous and loving, that is also helpful. That also causes us to grow. Okay. So certainly that is, I mean, it's very good wisdom to share. However, I feel like the biggest message here with this card is your cooperation is needed. You have to be willing to allow these things to happen in order to create that growth, in order to create that evolution, in order to take yourself to the next level, in order to remember who you truly are and to embody it. It takes your willingness, your cooperation, and without it, none of it is possible. Regardless of how badly God, the angels, source, universe, Christ, your higher self, whatever it is, regardless of how bad they would like that for you, regardless of how bad they would arrange things in any way to try to perpetuate that, it is your choice. It does require your cooperation and your willingness to do so. So essentially, the ball is in your hands, Gemini, as you move forward. The choice is yours. It always has been. It always will be, at least from our current space of evolution. It is your choice. And no one can make it for you, right? Not even God can force you, nor would it. Okay. So what an incredible, incredible opportunity for you. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 seconds on the clock. Those potentials and new beginnings are certainly opening up, full of opportunity for you. But it does feel like there's, this is pretty powerful. I mean, this is a reading I would love to have for myself, certainly, because, it implies, or rather, or it's very evident to me that, again, God is trying to call you back home. Source, universe, whatever you want to call it, is trying to call you back home, and not home in the sense of somewhere outside of yourself. It is trying to call you home to your truth, trying to connect you with that. And so I pray this month that you are able to recognize your own sacredness, to recognize your own value, to recognize the divinity that you hold within, to recognize the power, the strength, the courage, the magic that you hold within. And I pray that you are able to break free from anything that doesn't support your value, anything that doesn't support your growth, your rising ever higher. I pray that you're able to break free from that and recognize the things that certainly are not in alignment with where you are trying to go in your own growth and evolution. I pray something here has resonated for you. If it has, or you found something that provided insight for you or value, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow, and it certainly tells YouTube that there may be something valuable here for someone else. So I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Have a beautiful, magical month. Take care of your evolving, growing, strong, sacred, divine soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye.